Welcome to CareTalk, your prime home for incisive debate about healthcare, business, and policy. I'm David Williams, president of Health Business Group.
And I'm John Driscoll, the CEO of CareCentrix.
Hey, John, enough about that pesky old virus that we keep talking about. Let's talk about something that people used to be scared of, which is Amazon. What do you say?
Amazon's gonna take over the world, David. Just enjoy the ride.
But yeah.
But I'm not sure everyone's quite figured out all of the different creepy and creative ways that Amazon's going to try to take over our lives. Now, it dominates retail. It's dominating grocery. It kind of dominates your household, David. But what do you think of this Halo band?
John, I love Halo. Well, so the Halo, I have some teenagers in the house, John, and to me, Halo is a violent video game. But my understanding is it's a smartwatch, except it's just a band. It doesn't have any watch face on it or anything. It just sits on your wrist and it just sees if you're fat and it listens to the tone of your voice. I mean, what do you mean stop? What did I get wrong?
Well, first of all, it was a fine video game. I think people were way too critical about Halo. I mean, come on, David. But really, as I understand it, this Halo app wants you to take a picture of yourself in your underwear. How's that going to go over with the privacy advocates? I mean, from the same people who brought us, we're not going to listen to your Alexa conversations, and only to find out that people were transcribing them for analysis only.
Well, the thing is, John, now they're saying that they actually are doing it. So they wanted to take a picture of it. It's just like kind of the TSA when you go through those body scanners and it takes a picture of an outline of your body. It's the same damn thing. And when it listens to the tone of your voice, I mean, the idea is, this technology has been around. That's what they use in call centers when they say your call may be monitored. They're checking to see if you're revved up or not. It's actually pretty interesting what they're doing. They're going to bring a ton of data in. And it really is a differentiator because they'll basically do all the processing in AWS, Amazon Web Services, and not focused on the device.
Wait. So Big Brother Jeff Bezos is your new best friend. You're going to put something on your wrist that's going to monitor everything you do. How's your wife going to feel about that?
Well, John, here's the thing. The last time I was thinking of actually getting married to Jeff Bezos because that worked out pretty well financially. So I don't need a big slice. So anyway, enough about Halo, John. Let's do another HA one. How about Haven?
Well, Haven, as David Byrne wrote, they're on the road to nowhere. I mean, massive expectations. Haven was established as a joint entrepreneurial venture between J.P. Morgan, Berkshire Hathaway, and Jeff Bezos. Billionaires are us. And, I think it was Warren Buffett, Jamie Dimon, and Jeff Bezos are genuinely concerned about the ridiculousness, overcharging that the U.S. healthcare system does for employee healthcare. That made a lot of sense. But the notion that they could all agree on what to do to go forward and to kind of innovate, I think the Haven had high expectations and a clear critical view of U.S. healthcare, but gosh, it's been around for a couple of years, and I don't think it's done anything. So I think Haven is, as I said, is on the road to nowhere. But I'm still worried about you introducing Jeff Bezos into monitoring you and your household. I mean, the thing about Haven that I don't think people were clear about is that Jeff and really the Amazon team, to be fair, are relentlessly creative. And Haven was one among a number of bets. And the importance of what we're talking about now, is for people to see how many different creepy and creative ways, how many different ways that Amazon is going to basically try to take over healthcare. I mean, that Halo band of yours is tied into your Cerner electronic medical record. So they're tracking you too, David.
Well, John, they're making me work for it too, because I had to put my name on a waiting list. But, as it relates to Haven, whenever you see these like three big companies get together, it doesn't usually work out. I think Pfizer, IBM, and Microsoft tried to do something in healthcare about 15 years ago. You can look it up. They've tried to create electronic medical records. So Haven's a little bit like that. And they've lost most of their senior team. So my thought is the biggest impact they're going to have on the insurance market is on Cobra, since all the retiring employees are going to take them up on it on the way out.
Well, I think let's give a hat tip to Atul Gawande, one of the most thoughtful and creative healthcare researchers and beautiful writers. And so what's discouraging is if he can't make any progress with a think tank with those kinds of resources. I worry about anybody else, but I do worry about Pillpack. Have you heard about Pillpack, David?
Pillpack is the real deal, John. Amazon acquired that company a couple of years ago. It's a mail order pharmacy. They've got licenses in every state, and it gives them sort of the instant infrastructure. They realize that pharmacy is different than shipping books or most of the other things that they do. And you can see that, it allows people to get in the mail their pills set up in a way that they can actually take them. It's all organized for them, saves a lot of time and error. And they've done recent deals with Blue Cross in Massachusetts and Horizon down in New Jersey. So I think it's the real deal, John.
The drumbeat of Amazon taking over. I mean, Amazon has just got it's got an appetite to eat everything. But Pillpack's pretty interesting. It's not just mail order pharmacy. It's not just compliance packaging. That's that kind of personalized packaging for those of you who have might have chronic meds or whose family members might have chronic meds, but it's actually got an element of personalization and consumer focus that I think is as much as the licenses and the mail order capabilities. I think Pillpack's going to be a real challenge for old fashioned retail pharmacy with so many people being Prime members, with Amazon really, really potentially displacing UPS and FedEx, heck, maybe even the U.S. Postal Service. I think Pillpack's in a position to totally change the economics of retail pharmacy and potentially surprise and delight patients. It's the personalization and the consumer ease that really, in addition to mail order, kind of made Pillpack attractive, and that's a huge category and keeps Amazon squarely on the retail side of healthcare. But they've got bigger ambitions than that. I mean, what do you think of Comprehend Medical, David? I mean, that hasn't gotten a lot of press. It's got sort of a dull title, but I think it's actually pretty interesting.
Comprehend is good, John. That's basically a tool to transcribe, a tool, not a tool. Go on, Dave. Just a tool to transcribe and parse medical records on Amazon Web Services.
I'm not going to call you a tool. Don't worry.
No, please don't. And it's kind of a utility. I think it's a utility rather than being a big business in and of itself. And honestly, they're doing some work with
use normal words. What does it actually do?
Well, it basically allows you to take electronic medical record, which are difficult to interpret, and parse it out so that you can actually understand the specific things that are in there and use the elements of them in the care of a patient. Now, it sounds good. I think it's okay. But I know that they've also done some work in imaging, and I think it's actually pretty much like the Wizard of Oz, a bunch of, or Santa Claus, a bunch of elves running around doing things back there. And I think they're way behind Google and Apple.
Don't riff. Wait. With AWS, which is the dominant cloud software provider, all that data, all that intelligence, if they can actually become the front door of data as well as healthcare, doesn't that really give them an edge on everyone and be able to kind of control, influence, and price everything? I think Comprehend Medical, which is a transcribing tool, there's a lot of going from activity and interviews to transcribing information in a way that healthcare providers can then charge for. Everything is driven by transactions as well as clinical. They became the digital front door, and I think that's the race that they're Comprehend and Amazon is fighting with Google and Apple, as you talked about. But you think about their leadership in the cloud, the pervasiveness of Amazon. I think that while it seems kind of dull, I think I could comprehend that being one of their big advantages over time, David.
All right, Comprehend, John. I just don't get it. You talk about a front door, though. How about Alexa? She already knocked and made her way into your house, but that's a road to nowhere right there. She can't.
Alexa was all listen and not enough talk. I mean, I think people are going to unplug Alexa. I think Alexa's a last century tool, David. Bye, Alexa.
Yeah. She's probably waking up in your house right now in the house of some of our listeners. My kids like to unplug it too, or they press the button on the top so the thing goes red. But the idea about it was supposed to be, okay, all this intelligence is in the cloud, right? The stupid device just sits there and it hasn't learned a damn thing in the last 5 years I've had it.
No, it is a truly dumb terminal. But one thing it has learned is they've been transcribing your conversations, and at least according to some people, Alexa's been laughing at them in their own homes. I think Alexa was really bungled. It was really an attempt to to jump ahead of the smartphones and try to draw retail and information and music away from the iPhone users and the Android users. I don't think that one's going anywhere. But talk to me a little bit about AWS. I mean, do you agree with me that the Amazon Web Services, their leadership in cloud computing, that's that where you push your information, your algorithms, and your transaction software to centralized databases at much lower costs? I mean, they have a leadership position there that's pretty amazing. Doesn't that give them an edge in healthcare? What do you think of Amazon Web?
Well, John, the thing is, it's interesting that we've been talking about, 5, 6, 7 initiatives here, and we sort of dodged the idea about whether Amazon has a healthcare strategy. I don't think they do. I don't think they need one, because AWS is basically the kind of backbone of the internet. Everybody's using it, and so to the extent that healthcare is digitized, they're going to benefit. I mean, AWS is, I think, the big moneymaker for Amazon anyway. It's not sending out your little doodads that I know you like to get from from Amazon Prime. This is the way that they're making money. And so, yeah, I think it's like a passive strategy. I think it is and will continue to be real successful.
Yeah, no, I think that's where the edge. And another source of edge, though, is this Amazon Care. Again, people haven't really followed it, but you've got now telehealth combined with, so virtual visits, if you will, combined with follow-up visits. Amazon's got so many employees. They're actually trying this new self-created Amazon Care model that's pretty interesting. And what I think is fascinating is now you've covered the waterfront of retail drugs, cloud computing, owning the data pipes and the data rights, combining with other large employers, remaking retail. And now they're talking about potentially innovating around Amazon Care. It just gives you a sense of how relentless and multifaceted the Amazon's approach to taking over and innovating in healthcare really is. And those are just the ones we know about. There's probably a bunch of other ones we don't, David.
Well, the multifaceted one is a good point. So this Amazon Cares for Amazon employees, note that it's actually not a Haven initiative, which you'd think is where it would fall under. It's its own thing.
Nowhere.
And road to nowhere. And it's a nice perk, for Amazon employees. It'll probably expand it to the general population.
It's more than a perk, David. Come on. They're actually trying to remake primary care. They've got, it starts with telehealth, with in-person in that follow-ups. I mean, people don't realize that Amazon's been investing in new clinic models for a while that failed. I mean, Jeff and the Amazon team are relentless about healthcare, and everybody in healthcare should be paying attention.
Yeah, well, I hope Jeff Bezos is enjoying driving his Tesla around, or as he has the rocket ship, or is that the other guy?
Have you sent him any love letters recently?
Yeah, I haven't, but like I told you, John, I'm angling for that divorce settlement now. So, all right, last question, John. How do you think Amazon's going to do? You seem to be in love with them. I wonder if you're pining for Jeff as well. I mean, how are they doing compared to the other big boys, Microsoft, Apple, Google?
Much better. I mean, I think that the what people don't realize about Amazon, that's the point of this podcast, is how many different models they are making or breaking in order to innovate around healthcare. I may not like the fact that we're all going to be leveraging Amazon or effectively working for Amazon to drive that stock price to the roof, but what they're doing in healthcare is creative, multifaceted, multi-level, and they'll find some ways to win. And I would not bet against them. And I think everyone with a physical care or an institutional data or retail model has got to be thinking much bigger in a much more paranoid way, because Amazon's in the house.
Well, John, that should about wrap it up for this edition of CareTalk, where we've been talking about Amazon and all its activity in healthcare. I'm David Williams, president of Health Business Group.
And I'm John Driscoll, the CEO of CareCentrix. Thanks for listening.
Hey there, listeners. Want more Care Talk? There's more to be had in our other episodes, so be sure to look for those and subscribe to Care Talk on your favorite service.